Hello folks, Vertigo Tea Party here. So I know a lot of people have been having issues with super agents completely screwing their bases up, specifically the teleporting agents, which at least so far that I've seen are Symmetry and Agent X. And I don't have Agent X in the base right now, but I'm going to show you how I deal with both of them and just the general strategy for dealing with these crappy agents that teleport in with a ridiculously good team and wipe you out. So my big thing is guard tables. The armory is one of the most important buildings in the game as far as I'm concerned. You should have, in my opinion, at least at this point of the game, where you're starting to get hit by Agent X and or Symmetry, you should have at least 2 guard tables and have at least 25 or more guards. If you don't have a good combat mastermind, or if you don't have a really good combat henchman, you'll probably want more guards, probably around 30 to 35, depending. More is definitely better. So the way this works, and I feel like this maybe not is explained that great in the game, is if a camera sees an agent who is flagged or in combat, all of the guards that are in the armory, or at least at the tables, will all go to that spot to deal with that threat, right? So if I tag someone for capture and they walk in front of a camera that's right here, all the guards in all of the armories will all go to deal with that threat at the same time. So even if they're in their different rooms, even if it's different tables, it doesn't matter. They'll all go at the same time, as we'll see here in just a second. The reason that's so important is the reason that these super agents, or one of the reasons that makes them so dangerous, is because your guards, if you don't have cameras set up, are just going to wander into them one at a time and get absolutely destroyed. Even if you set an alert, the guards don't just happen to know or magically know where all the enemies are at, right? Whether you flag them, even if your mastermind sees them, doesn't matter. The only way they know that they're there is if they see them themselves, or again, if they're at a table and they get spotted on a camera. So I'm going to pause it real quick. Now, Symmetry at some point is going to disable your cameras, and you'll know that with an icon over the camera. And then as soon as you see that camera icon, you need to pause the game. So we're going to do that. We're going to wait. She's going to disable it here in just a second. There it goes. You see the red eye icon over it? That means she has placed a camera disruptor wherever she's at. Usually it's going to be one of the gold vaults, and I've seen more than one in multiple vaults, so make sure you look very good. Go to your vault and find the camera disruptor that she's placed. Sometimes it does not have this big yin-yang hologram sticking out of it, making it obvious. So you might have to poke around, but just click it. You'll know you found it because it says Symmetry's camera disruptor. Click on edit, click on destroy, and click on confirm. Now, what's going to happen is a technician is going to come over here and disable that. Now, the technician will not be touched as long as you're not in combat with Symmetry yet. So I would strongly advise, if you can, wait until he disables it and then work on getting rid of the threat, because in the meantime, she's just going to be skulking around. Don't worry too much about it. All right, so now that is gone. Normally, these guards would come out and are able to kill these guys, but they're not going to. And why is that? The reason is because they're not flagged. This has caught me more times than I care to admit, where I'm like, why the hell are the guards not attacking them? They're clearly on the cameras. It's because I didn't flag them. They will only attack them if they're flagged or if the cameras catch them in combat. Maybe also doing other sneaky stuff, I don't know. But we're going to now flag all of them now and flag them for kill. By the way, you can hotkey these. I use V for terminate, C for capture, X for distract. So now, once we unpause, we're going to see all the guards at all the tables. Get out. Now, we've only got 2 guards over there. That is definitely not ideal. So he could still be in not a great way. Now, I'm intentionally not going to use my mastermind here or my henchman, because I want to show that this can work just with the guards. Even though, quite frankly, the guards are kind of crap in this game. but this will help them deal with this situation a lot better. And as you probably already know, traps mostly worthless against the super agents because they will simply disable them all and walk right on by, which is really unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. You're still going to lose a lot of people, unfortunately. Make sure your guards have guns or weapons. And again, the guard AI is very weird. You can put nothing but guns. Some of them will pick up guns, some of them will not. It's kind of crap. It's kind of BS. There's definitely some tweaking that they need to do with this. Guards should never choose fists over just not having a weapon of any kind. But yeah, it is what it is. You just gotta have to deal with it for what it is right now. See, it's still even pretty close. But imagine if these guards, if we would have just relied on using red alert, how much more horrible this would have been. They would have been wandering in here 2 and 3 at a time, getting completely annihilated. And again, we intentionally didn't use our mastermind or our henchman here just to prove a point. Obviously.
Impressed. Maybe next time.
Yeah,
you'll
yes,
dazzle me.
But obviously, you'll do much better if you have your mastermind and your henchman help. Again, I didn't use them just to prove a point. Now, how many guards did we lose? I had 25, and we lost about 12. We lost about half of them. And we were suboptimal here because we didn't have all the guards at their station. They were off sleeping and whatnot, which will lead me to a later tip. But for now, I'm not going to worry about that. So I am going to cut the video now, and I will pick you guys back up once I've kind of rebuilt, and once we get Agent X, and I'll show you how we deal with him. All right, so we are about to antagonize Mr. X to come get us. 2 points I wanted to make real quick, though, that I actually did not realize until I saw on the forums about how this works. So when you see these agents on the world map, that means if you do any mission in that area, including the ones to lower your heat, that will trigger them to come to your base. So if you want to avoid them, whenever you're checking the world map, make sure not to do any quests. Now, they might come anyway, eventually, I don't know. But I did verify that the second I click on a mission, it triggers him to get ready to come over. However, when you do that, it will also trigger one of these types of quests, where you can disrupt the attack by sending a few folks over. However, he's still going to come over, but if you need a little bit more time, you can do this. Yes, there's also this quest where you invite him to come investigate you. I literally have no clue why on earth you would want to do that. They don't explain that very well. But anyway, so you can see whenever he starts doing this animation here, or any of them start doing the animation where they're kind of hunched over, they look tired, or they drop the contact lens. When you see that, they're about to come over. And I'm going to guess it's whenever this ends. So we'll fast forward, and then we'll pause, and then we'll hop into the base and see how things are. And we'll talk about my base build here in just a second, because that's important as well.
I've come to fight for the Patriot way.
So and that's the other thing, too, to notice. And I meant to show this on Symmetry, but whenever a super agent comes to mess your crap up, or a super villain, they will announce themselves. They're not the sneakiest folks around. Now, Agent X is probably the biggest BS super agent in the game. He will teleport with his team into an area of your base, and it seems, as far as I can tell, it's always the same spot. So we can see here he spawned into the med bay area. So I think, as far as I know, and my experience is, he will always spawn in here, which is good because you can set a camera up close by wherever he's at. We also gotten pretty lucky because his agents this time are poor. So he's actually going to be a lot easier. I don't know if they've nerfed him in the last few days, because I've had this happen a time or two. But before, I've had him poured in with average guards, and quite frankly, or average agents rather. And average agents, quite frankly, could probably kill 2 to 3 of your regular agents by themselves. Your guards are pretty weak, to be honest, especially if they don't have a weapon. So one thing I changed before we get started, I did up the guard count. I'm up to 30 as opposed to 25. The reason I did that is for my build, I was okay with having that many, the 25, because I was using Emma and Jubei. Jubei is a ridiculous badass, which, by the way, if you're starting a new game and you want these agents to be much easier to deal with, pick Jubei as your henchman. The quest is the swordsman, I believe. He is a ridiculous badass. But again, just to kind of prove our overall point of this build working for any mastermind and any henchman, I wanted to not use them for this. So you see, now that we have more guards, there's more guards at the table. They're still not full, but they're doing better. I also put some more weapon racks as well. See, still not ideal. And again, we'll go over that build stuff in a little bit. So our cameras are manned though. So when these guys come out, the camera's going to spot them. The camera's going to spot them.
A scheme has succeeded.
Remember, what did I say? You got to flag them. See, I knew that.
And kill.
I was just testing you guys. Good job, you passed.
I need Agent X.
I know you can't. You cannot track the agent. All right, so now all the guards are going to come again. And I did notice too in the video before. Wait, why are you guys not coming over here? Now that's weird. They should have actually came over. That's the first time I've seen them not pop over. Oh, there they go. I don't know why they didn't immediately. Now this is going to be much, much easier because these agents are poor. Poor get beat up pretty badly. And especially with this many agents, again, all mostly coming at the same time. That's going to help a bunch. I honestly have no idea why those guys did not aggro. It's the first time I've ever seen like only one table just not react.
Fireworks when I finally bring you
now, see, that was just brutal. And again, you'll see that we did have some guards kind of come in late. I think what's happening there is some of the guards who were asleep or were eating went to the armory and then immediately were triggered and came to help. But for the most part, in both the cases, the guards went together. And again, if you watch when you try to set an alarm and do this without the cameras, they'll go in there a few at a time and just completely get destroyed. And we lost far less guards that time. We lost 2 out of it. Now, of course, that makes sense because his agents are poor and hers were average. And our spacing of the guards wasn't as great. So, and again, imagine if we had had the mastermind and the henchman in there to help them out. Much, much easier to deal with. And keep in mind, I think as you like grow in power, I think the agents probably get nastier as well. If possibly like or at least not the super agents, but the agents they bring with them. Maybe they bring higher level. So keep that in mind with your guards. You always want to have a good guard population. In fact, let's say I had a weak mastermind melee, which I think Emma probably isn't great melee. And let's say I had picked a really bad melee combatant for this, like the computer hacker chick. I forgot her name. What I would do, and again, this is just a decent rule of thumb, I would say, have as many guards as can fill every single table plus 1 extra table. So what I mean is each table will hold 8 guards. So if you have 1 table, that means you have 16 guards total. If you have 2 tables, which would hold 16 guards total, you have, 24 guards. Look, I'm not here to math. I'm here to evil genius. Genius ain't so good with the math. And since I have 3 tables, which would be 24 guards total, then I would have 42 guards total. Wait, 32. So yeah, 32 guards total. I don't have that right now because, again, Jubei is ridiculous. And Emma, it doesn't too bad herself. So I'm happy with the number of guards that I pick. So here's some other side tips to help with this and make things a little bit easier. But that's the big thing. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how much having the armories and good camera coverage has changed the game for me. Because I was like you. I'd have 120 minions. Agent X would show up, and then Symmetra would show up at the same time sometimes, and the worst, I got brought from like 120 minions to 5. So I know I've been there, I have done that. Having this set up with the guards and the cameras, making sure that they're always manned, that has been a huge, huge game changer for me. But so some other tips here, and again, I know you want to critique my build. I know you do. You're dying to do it, but just bear with me. Some of this stuff I've just been testing with, but here's some things that I would strongly advise you to do, not only for the armory, but for any kind of important building you want to be manned 24/7, and the armory is definitely high on that list. Have food's over here, food and bedding right by the guard posts. This way, as you saw him, he was tired, he went over here, boom, goes to bed. If we don't have these beds, this is an extra, pretend this doesn't exist. If he didn't have this, you're going to have to go all the way over here or up here for bedding. Do not, that's a ton of time walking back and forth. You do not want that. You want these guys in this room as much as humanly possible. So make sure their needs are met as close as possible. You can see the cafeteria is like built right into the armory, so they have to just walk right over and they're good. They can get their asses right back to work. Weapons, I don't know what's wrong with the AI for weapons. The guards seem to randomly pick either a club rack or a gun. It's so strong that I have seen guards just attack with their fists when we didn't have enough clubs. I ran out of clubs but still had guns. The guards just used their fists. So I tried to game the system to make them use pistols. It didn't work. So you'd rather have them have clubs than have nothing. So give them a few clubs. I try to not put anywhere near as many clubs as guns so that they're still possibly inclined to use them. But make sure they have some kind of gun, because a club is going to be better than their fists. Another thing that you can do, some people talk about heat. Heat is, as far as I can tell, heat is completely irrelevant to, I'm just doing these to get my heat down so that Emma or Iris doesn't yell at me. Heat seems to be completely irrelevant for super agents. Super agents are triggered, as far as I can tell, just by doing missions in these areas. In fact, we'll even do this again. So let's try this. She's just hanging out, chilling out. I'm going to launch this scheme. Is she going to do it? She's going to make me look like a jerk? Oh, it looks like she is. It might not happen until the guys get out there. I don't know. But if you're having just a ton of problems with this, what I would strongly advise you do is stick to 1 or 2 regions at most when you're building your criminal network. Now, I know some quests force you to go outside of certain regions. Like, so if, let's say if you wanted to do just America, you eventually do have to go elsewhere to do some other like side missions, side stories, things like that. Do that enough to finish the quest and then destroy the network. Now that's only if you're just having tons of issues and you're barely surviving, or you're having to rebuild every time. Just destroy those networks. Focus on one area. In particular, focus on areas that are not Anvil or Patriot, because Anvil is where Symmetry comes from. Patriot is where Agent X comes from. Is she really going to make me a fool? She really is going to make me the fool. Maybe there's a timer on that. I don't know. But if you don't have any criminal network over here, my understanding is she will never attack. So if you want to avoid the really nasty super agents, don't go to America and do Patriot, and also stay out of Asia for the Anvil provinces as well. If money's a problem, this is just a general tip, but I guess this kind of goes along with it. The upgrades you want to get as soon as possible is being able to upgrade your criminal nodes to level 2. The difference in the amount of money you can make between a level 1 node and a level 2 node is enormous. I can't really show you right now because those are in lockdown. See, he's already back, so if I do another mission over here, but theoretically, then he will attack again, theoretically. But if you see here, the 30-minute version of the money quests gives 20,000. The 1 hour version of a node upgraded does like 100,000 or even more, I think. It's ridiculous. So get those nodes upgraded to level 2. And once you've got them upgraded, all upgraded to level 2, honestly, you can probably get away with 3 to 4 level 2 nodes for a long time, and that's going to keep you in money for a long time, and that will like cut down on your heat. That'll cut down how many super agents you have to deal with, things like that. Also remember that your guards can't attack someone who's not unmasked. In other words, an agent who still has their disguise on. So you need to undisguise them. So you either need to have your mastermind close by those minions, which it does seems to be hit or miss. Sometimes the mastermind can undisguise them, sometimes it can't. Henchmen, same deal. But if you want to be more consistent, use cameras. Now, minions by default can work the security desks. However, if you look over here, if you hover over your spotting power down here at the bottom, that will show you that's only spotting power 1. So you can unmask the like crappy agents as disguises, but that's about it. If you start having to deal with higher level agents using higher level disguises, you can click on this button here, and that will switch so that one of your muscle will use this instead. And when they do, you get higher spotting power. So initially you don't need to do that, and in fact it's better to have your limited guards be able to go beat some butt in case they need to. But later on you will want to have actual guards or muscle units, if you will, working the security cameras, because now you can see we have spotting power of 3, which is a little bit better, and that is going to help with that. Let's see, make sure enemies are tagged. Sorry, I'm going through my notes. Make sure enemies are tagged. Also, make sure that your henchmen and your mastermind, once they finish the fight, send the mastermind back to their desk so that they can regenerate stats, and then send your henchmen back to the table, and that will regenerate their stats. Remember, the henchmen and the mastermind can't heal anywhere except in the objects in your lair. I actually didn't realize that for quite a while. Heat screen, again, I don't really think heat matters too much, but under the menu, systems menu, and under stats, you can see your overall heats. Frankly, this seems to be mostly worthless. As far as agents seem to be sent fully based on if you do missions that they're in. Now, granted, I just tried to do that and this didn't work, so there might be some other criteria, but I'm pretty sure it's related to that, because twice I would see them pop up, I would go do a mission, and immediately they would trigger and show that they were about to invade. So keep that in mind as well. Make sure beds and food are very close to the guard rooms, which obviously we've done here. This is a mess, I know, but here we've done that well. Oh, one other trick. This is just a general trick that can be handy. So let's say we know that Agent X is always popping up in here. In fact, let's do this. I'm going to try something. I think this will work. Don't try this at home. But you can only build cameras on corridor tiles. For whatever bizarre reason, you can only do it on corridor tiles. So, if you wanted to cheat the system a little bit, let's see if it's going to let me do this. A trap has been triggered. Actually, hold on. Let's do this.
Your minions are in combat.
I think there's a way to do this.
Training has started.
I think if we made it larger, that would work. But I know you can do this. I've done this trick, though. This is not as good. And again, that can work somehow. But I didn't think ahead to try it, because I'm terrible. So make this 2x4. Should be fine. Oops. It could be smaller, but you want a little bit of extra oomph there. And of course, make it corridor, because again, you can only have cameras in corridor. So if you just really, really want to make sure that you capture Agent X on camera as soon as he shows up, you can do stuff like this. You can put like your little corridor walls inside another room to sneak a camera in. Now, keep in mind, this isn't going to be a huge benefit, because they they're not going to be flagged. And again, your guards will not attack if they are not flagged.
Your votes
Now,
are full.
if you have upgraded the ability to do distract or to kill in certain areas, then you could probably do that. Put the like the auto kill thing in here. That way the camera spots them as soon as they spawn, and immediately the guards pop out and are ready to give them a good thumping. But yeah, that's some just general tips, and you can see with this number of guards, which again we have 30. We got a good number of guards there. You don't have to have every seat filled all the time, especially if you're taking
Your
precautions
votes
to
are
avoid
full.
triggering X or Symmetry as much as, or like trying to trigger them less. But, you do want to see the majority of your guard seats taken. They do rest a lot. Oh, one other trick here, too. I did not realize this. If you go to build and go to decor, some items actually do give benefits. So, for example, the air conditioning unit slows morale drain. And as you can see, it's a bad example. Let me do this. I'm going to move this. You can see as I move it close to it, objects that it works on turns green. So any minion working on that object has slower morale drain. So that will keep them in here a little bit longer. But as you know, they tend to go through their stats pretty darn quick. So they're going to be eating and they're going to be sleeping a lot. That's why I say, typically if you really want to be safe, at least one extra table worth of guards. So again, if I wanted to be safe here, I would actually have 32 guards total. Because even with 30 guards, and we can only support 24 at tables, we're still getting like what? 1, 2, is that 1, 2, 3, 10, 12, like 14 or 15? Like not even half of the guards we can. And also we need to factor in the fact that, we have a guard on one of the security cameras too. So you might want to go, even heavier on guards. And remember, if you go heavier on guards, also make sure that they have weapons. You probably realize this, but if a dispenser is out of weapons, the little holograph will stop
A
displaying.
scheme has succeeded.
That lets you know that you're out of that type of weapon. But if they actually have weapons, of course, they'll have the little holograph. But anyway, I think that's all the good, I hope they're good tips. And again, try it out yourself. I definitely, again, the central thing about this is the guard tables and the camera coverage and making sure you flag the enemies and making sure you get rid of Symmetry's, too much Overwatch, Symmetry's camera jammer as soon as you can. That way all the guards pile out and jump on her at once. And that's going to make them
Your
much
minions are in
either. Oh,
combat.
see, there must have been a fight over here. So now these guys are all going to run out. And these guards already, and I mean this, and that's just one of the benefits. This kind of shows that this is just handling the super agents is just one of the benefits. Now I know that anytime there's a fight breaking out, as long as the camera sees it, they're going to deal with that situation with a quickness, and we're going to have a little bit of a warmer lunchtime because we got some more bodies to burn. That makes sense somehow. But anyway, I will wrap up. Hopefully this was helpful because, again, I have seen a lot of people having issue with this. If it was helpful for you, I definitely want to hear in the comments below. Like bookmark this or something. I want you to try it yourselves, and I want to see what your experience is. Does this help you out? I would like to hear some more feedback. Obviously, if you have any other tips, definitely pop them in the comments below. Again, the stuff about the traps, ignore people who tell you to use traps. I keep seeing people say to use traps against those super agents. It's mostly a waste of time. Yes, they can be good to distract them. If you put a whole bunch of traps here for them to disable, they'll be stuck disabling while their friends are getting beat up. That will help just a little bit. So, it wouldn't hurt to throw some down to keep them distracted, but it's not going to seriously help stop them. They're just going to be a minor diversion. Also, just a self plug, I do stream. I stream over at twitch.tv/Vertigo Tea Party. You didn't think you'd make this whole video without a little bit of self advertisement, but I do sincerely hope this helps you, and I do hope to see you in the streams. Twitch.tv/Vertigo Tea Party. I stream Tuesday, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and I will be doing a playthrough of this game on my channel. And if I find more tips like this, or if I find other people running into issues, I will make some videos regarding some, other tips and stuff that I can maybe give to help with that and make it easier. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all next time.